Neno hili si hivyo. Mambo ni matatu.
Ladies and gentlemen, good morning and welcome back to our channel once again. And it is my hope and prayer that the video is going to find you guys in good health. Personally, I am fine, as you can see. Kisumu is fantastic, and maybe you could also let me know where you are watching the video from, the county or the country, in case you are out of the republic. Ladies and gentlemen, Team Wanyonyi, the Westlands Member of Parliament, has bolted out of Nairobi gubernatorial race. Instead, Team Wanyonyi will be running for the governorship of Bungoma.
Yes. I belong to ODM, but I am not saying I'm ODM. I've come here as a candidate seeking to run for the governor of Bungoma. Yes. Hii yengine tutadivide baadaye. Yes. Sindio? Yes. We shall define. We might end up all together. Yes. And that is what I'm praying for.
And the Team Wanyonyi has already been endorsed by most members of parliament from Bungoma.
Kwamba sasa wale waliokuwa na dukuduku kwamba gavana atatoka wapi, waone siku ya leo kwamba gavana amefika. Na ma MCS tumekubali.
And Didmas Baraza, who was the front runner, is already feeling the heat.
Wale wapinzani yangu ambao wangetaka mimi nisiendelee safari yangu hii mbele, walifika pahali wakanipatia vikwazo. Unapata mtu rafiki yako ni mjumbe mwenzako, anakuambia wewe Didmas, ndio nikuunge mkono ukuwe gavana ya Bungoma, nataka ununulie gari, nataka unipatie shilingi sijui milioni 20, sijui milioni 15. Mimi nikaambia huyo mtu, wewe pia unatafuta kura, wewe pia ulipigiwa kura, na saa hii kila mtu ako msituni anatafuta kura. Oh, unatafuta kurudi? Kama ni MCA pia unatafuta kurudi? Ama unatafuta tena upigiwe kura na wale wananchi? Sasa mimi ile pesa niko naye, wacha nisaidie mwananchi ule wa kawaida kama wamama wa hapa Kitale. Nyinyi mnaona hiyo watu, niende nipige magoti kwao niwaambie wanisaidie ama nipige magoti mbele yenu?
I don't want to talk about the Bungoma gubernatorial race as at now. But in this video, I want us to look at how the move by Team Wanyonyi to bolt out of Nairobi to Bungoma is going to hand over the governorship to Babu Owino.
Kenya ni yetu atuani. Nikitaka kumaliza, kwa wale ambao anasikia mko na mdomo mwingi ya ukemea Babu Owino, that's our next governor of Nairobi. Nieni huko. Nikuambia ukweli, na kama unataka kuguza Babu Owino, amini usiamini, hii Nairobi hatutakaa vizuri. Hiyo nakuambia na waonya vizuri. Kwa sababu kitu ya kwanza, tunaangalia mtu ambaye anafanya mambo kulingana bila ambavyo tunataka. Nenda uangalia hapa Nairobi, out of 17 MPs, ni nani best MP? Tunataka mtu ambaye anataka kufanya kazi.
Before you do that, for those who are watching this channel for the first time, please take a second or two, click the subscribe button so that next time we produce a video like this, YouTube will automatically notify you. And to the subscribers, I want to continue thanking you guys for your continued support. Because without that support, this channel cannot be where it is. Ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, allow me to dive in. For those who have been following the Nairobi politics very closely, one thing is very clear. That Raila Odinga is going to support Johnson Sakaja one thing is very clear. That Raila Odinga is going to support Johnson Sakaja's re-election bid. So far, other candidates have also expressed their interest. There is James Gachagua, who is being fronted by none other than the former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua. Rigathi Gachagua believes that the next governor for Nairobi must come from the mountain, and therefore is going to do everything possible to rally the mountain around James Gachagua. And the truth is, there is no way you can ignore the influence of the Kikuyu nation in Nairobi. There is also Dennis Waweru, who is likely to run on Jubilee Party ticket. I'm not so sure, but there is chance that he'll be running on that ticket. Agnes Kagure has also expressed her interest. So far, we are not so sure whether Evans Kidero will be making return to the city, because at some point there were those talks. Of course, there is also the story that former Arena member of parliament is also planning to run for the Nairobi gubernatorial seat. That is Raphael Tuju. But so far, Babu Owino is making moves. And I can say that maybe fate has conspired to make Babu Owino the next governor for Nairobi. And the move by Wanyonyi has actually worked in his favor. Why am I saying this? I'm saying this because, number one, for those who have been following the politics of Nairobi for a long time, there is a general consensus that the voting pattern of Nairobi has always revolved around rallying the Western Bloc versus the Mountain. In 2013, when Kidero won because he had the support of the Western Alliance. Then the Kamba Nation voted for Kidero. That's how he was able to win. Of course, he also appealed to the technocrats, and most Kikuyu businessmen rallied their supporters around Kidero. Then came 2017 when Mike Mbuvi Sonko won. Sonko won because he had the backing of the Kikuyu nation. Then the Kamba Nation tilted the equation in favor of Sonko. Remember, Sonko also had the support of the slums. There are people who are just looking for Sonko and they're seeing their savior. So Sonko went like that. Then in the last election, Sakaja won. And there are several questions about his win. But the truth is, he had the support of the Kikuyu nation. And he projected himself as a lawyer. And remember the confusion we had in ODM party, where Wanyonyi, who was the favorite, was actually asked to step down in favor of Polycarp Rigathi as part of negotiations, because at that level, the Nairobi gubernatorial seat was negotiated. Sakaja ended up winning because of the Kikuyu votes, plus the alleged Luya votes and the dissatisfied ODM support base. Today, we are staring at a similar situation. ODM supporters are not accepting the fact that Sakaja is going to be their candidate, because they've never really embraced Johnson Sakaja. And the fact that Wanyonyi, whom they always viewed as their own, who was shortchanged last time, is moving out to Bungoma, there is a strong feeling within ODM support base that they will have to stand with one of their own, Babu Owino. But Babu Owino is not going to be given the ODM ticket, which means what's going to happen, Sakaja will run as an ODM candidate, because there's no UDA in Nairobi. Sakaja will run as an ODM candidate, but the ODM support base might actually go with Babu Owino as an independent candidate. That's something which is likely to happen, just because of the dissatisfaction of the supporters. Number two, there is also the Babu Owino and Mount Kenya factor. You know, Babu Owino is a wise man, and because Babu Owino is a wise man, he's played his politics in a way that he's never antagonized the Mountain. Babu Owino never voted to impeach Rigathi Gachagua. He knows that for Nairobi, he needs to at least have some soft landing to the Kikuyus. Of course, the Kikuyus will see him as someone who is married there. I don't know how they call it, orgi. I don't know how they call that in their Kikuyu nation. How do you call Babu Owino in your language? You know, Babu Owino, as we speak, is not really with Raila and ODM brand of politics. He's not also really with Rigathi. He's somewhere there. He's creating his own image. And because of that, if pushed so well, Babu Owino will be able to get substantial number of Kikuyu votes, just because of the fact that it's Babu Owino. He will get the Luo votes. Babu Owino is likely to get the Luya votes. Why? Because of Edwin Sefona's factor. So Babu Owino will have that advantage of Kikuyu votes. If Babu Owino can manage to get, let's say, 50,000 or let's say 100,000 votes from the Kikuyu nation, he will become the governor. Number three, and this is something which is going to play a huge role in Babu Owino's win, the Gen Z factor. Of all the candidates running in Nairobi, who do you think the Gen Zs are likely to vote for? they're likely to vote for one man, Babu Owino. Allow me to explain. During Gen Z protest, Sakaja was accused of participating in thwarting Gen Z protest in Nairobi. So they will not forgive him. Forget about that. Most Gen Zs were actually Babu Owino students when he was offering the lectures during COVID. They are now in Nairobi, somewhere in Turkana, somewhere in Malindi, somewhere in Soba. Now all of them have moved to colleges in Nairobi. Babu Owino taught them maths. Babu Owino taught them chemistry. Babu Owino taught them history. Babu Owino taught them that time. They had that personal interaction, personal relationship with Babu Owino. All these guys are now in Nairobi. If you give those guys chance, the first person they'll vote for is Babu Owino. They're now students there, both tertiary and university. Babu Owino was the longest serving student leader at the University of Nairobi. So most students who were at the university during those periods will not leave Babu Owino to vote for someone. Very many of them will rally support for Babu Owino. That alone is a serious constituency for Babu Owino. I've always told people that Babu Owino has some advantage which most people don't. As we speak, Babu Owino is running from one court to another, trying to help those Gen Zs who are hurt during Azimio protest. Who are hurt during their protest. Babu Owino is moving across the country, burying those people, meeting their friends, meeting their fellow comrades. The other day he was in Murang'a. Yesterday, Babu Owino was somewhere in two places in Nyanza here. The other day you saw Babu Owino somewhere in Migori. He's moving around, creating an image for him. In fact, most Gen Zs view Babu Owino as a potential presidential candidate in the future. So they're going to make him the governor for Nairobi as they wait for the right time. Number 4 is what I call the failure by Johnson Sakaja himself as a governor. Most people believe that Sakaja has failed as a governor. I don't know, I don't stay in Nairobi, but those who stay in Nairobi can tell me, because Sakaja was really voted in as someone who was going to change the face of Nairobi. But the comments I read are always negative. Maybe you can tell me in the comment section. And lastly, the lawyer factor. The fact that Wanyonyi has bolted out of Nairobi gubernatorial seat. He was denied chance last time. The Luhya nation, especially in ODM party and in Nairobi, are not going to be happy with Raila Odinga, and therefore they will not vote for the candidate Raila Odinga is going to propose. That's how Babu Owino is going to be a beneficiary. Remember, in 2022, Wanyonyi was destined to win. He was told, wait. So the lawyers are asking themselves several questions. But then there is now Babu Owino, who will be running for the governor, and then we have Edwin Sifuna, who will be running as a senator. So the lawyers will vote for Babu and they'll vote for Sifuna to punish Sakaja. I don't know what to think. That's my take. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. If you've enjoyed the video, please let me know in the comment section. Until next time, this is Lee Makwiny. Bye-bye.